Okay guys, time for some interesting explanation. I'm just going to keep turning this around in my hand right here in the sunlight in the windowsill and talk while I do. Sometime back, Grandpa Pete called me or contacted me mentioning that he was really having trouble because his thumb no longer really worked without causing him great pain. And most slingshots are designed where if you don't really have a thumb to help you, it's really not very convenient to shoot. Even in pinch grip, pistol grip, none of them are really comfortable. They just, whether you like to admit it or not, they require a lot of thumb strength. Well, you're now going to see me release a whole bunch of videos on the development of this. I pulled from a lot of ideas, but for the most part, this was something that just materialized in my brain one day. I quickly cut it out of oak and put an oak dowel in, I cut it out of plywood, 3/4 ply, furniture ply, and I had an oak dowel that was about 1 inch in diameter, and I made this, and then I had to, you can see there's an angle to it right here. You can see this angle, which is different from the center. It took me a little while to fine tune that angle to get it to where it needed to be. It took me a little while to get the spacing between. What you don't realize is there's another rod just like this underneath this padding. For those of you wondering what this padding is, it's simply padding that goes around that insulates a 1-inch pipe. It's actually, don't get the rubber kind because it's too soft. Get the foam kind, basically the cheaper kind. You can buy it where it already has 2 strips of glue on it. You just peel it back, cut it to the length you want, peel it back, and glue it over. This is a 1 1/8 inch dowel. It's actually phenolic. For those who know the difference between phenolic and micarta and G10, this is actually phenolic, which is machine grade, machine strength. It doesn't look as pretty, but it's solid as all get out. This is also phenolic, except this, if you look closely, you can see it's more like a canvas material. There's varying degrees of phenolic, and they all have ratings. But anyway, this is the canvas one, and I'm not even sure what they use in rods anymore. But so I got this all right. I sent a couple of test models to Grandpa Pete. We got the size, the spacing right for it. We got the padding on here so it doesn't hurt the knuckles. We got everything right. And what'll happen is this will go to Grandpa Pete, and he'll wrap this right here that I'm touching with my thumb. He's an excellent leather worker. He'll put a piece of leather around this like he did the last one. And then for those of you who want to understand, you see I just slid my hand in, okay? My hand just goes in. You can grab this if you need to, but you really don't. What ends up happening is it's a over the fork. Let me see if I can do this so you guys can see it. Okay. It's an over the fork, and what happens is when you pull back on these 2 forks, this thing twists back on you. So really all you got to do is, if your hand's in there tight enough, which this is designed for Grandpa Pete, so it's a little off for me, it actually straightens, and if you hold your hand straight out like this, you can see my hand in there now. You don't even have to close it. Look, thumb's completely isolated, does absolutely nothing. If you hold it like this and hold it at the right angle, for this angle is for Grandpa Pete. When he pulls it, these actually go perfectly vertical, those forks, and it goes right over the top. You can also wrap your hand around it if you want, okay? It feels a little funky on mine. You can push it up tighter if you want, push it looser. You also got to remember, you can see where the knuckles hit it, okay? Hopefully you guys can see that a little bit. You can see where the knuckles hit it. Gives it lots of padding, but also lots of leverage. Grandpa Pete can always wrap an extra round of leather on it if needed to get it a little tighter. But once it gets wedged on your hand, you'll see my ring's down there. I had to take it off to get my hand through here. Okay, if you get it wedged on tight enough, it's an amazing shooter. it surprised me how good this thing turned out. Anyway, enough talking. You guys can see it here. I'll post the design to it later. But first I'm going to send this to Grandpa Pete. I'll let him band it up. Like I said, you hold it like this. It's just like every other over the fork. You can see you can see the two stubs up there that are there to tie it. It ends up being about 1.5 inches. But the surprising thing is it doesn't put much pressure on your wrist. It does put a little bit of pressure in weird places on your hand, but I was surprised at how little pressure it ends up putting on your wrist when I got done with it. Kind of surprised me. Anyway, there you go, guys. Phenolic Grandpa Pete special. Okay? I'm going to send this out to him. By the time you guys see this, he'll probably already have that. And he'll probably become a fiend shooting this. He's already made his indoor catch box, and he and his grandson are having competitions. Anyway, hope you guys like this kind of strange and unique design. It's always a pleasure to make something that's unique for somebody who couldn't shoot a slingshot otherwise. Hopefully this keeps him busy for a while, and I'll release all the other videos that have been in hiding up till now, where he and I went back and forth trying to figure out how to work it and how to test it. Anyway, guys, take care. Hope you guys like it.